welcome to the deep dive. We've got some interesting source material you sent over looking at golf tech, specifically what's been happening lately with Sportsbox.
That's right.
So our mission here is, to cut through the noise a bit, pull out the key insights from these updates, especially thinking about how this stuff might play out as we get deeper into the 2025 major season.
Okay.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, the first thing that really jumps out from the sources is just the growth and the demand they talk about. It suggests there's a real appetite out there, from coaches, from players, for better tools, better understanding. That's kind of the backdrop for everything else.
Right, that momentum. And it looks like education is a big piece of how they're building on that. The source mentions a new program.
Absolutely. They've just launched their first Coach Accelerator Program. And this isn't like a weekend workshop. It's really designed for coaches who want to properly integrate 3D motion analysis.
Integrate.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that actually look like? Who's running it?
So it's led by DiChiara. He's their director of education. And the program itself involves weekly sessions, direct mentorship. It's focused on giving coaches a real system.
A system for what, exactly?
For improving student results, basically. And also, interestingly, for boosting their own retention as coaches. And the source mentioned like hundreds of applications globally.
Wow, hundreds.
Yeah, which really underlines how ready coaches are for this kind of, advanced data-driven stuff.
That definitely signals a shift away from just the old eye test. Now, speaking of going deeper with data, there's also new tech mentioned, right? For golfers themselves.
Right. They've introduced something called the Swing Score Report. It's in beta right now.
Okay.
Think of it as like a really detailed breakdown of your swing. It's a 5+ page analysis, all based on the key 3D metrics their system captures.
5 pages. So it's taking all that complex 3D stuff and making it more usable?
How are coaches using it day to day? Yeah, that's the idea. The key thing seems to be showing measurable progress. So instead of just saying, hey, you're improving, coaches can actually point to specific numbers in the report.
Right. Concrete evidence.
Exactly. The source says it helps them explain concepts better, and some academies are even building it into their sort of standard process now. Plus, solo golfers are apparently liking it too, just for their own understanding.
Makes total sense. Data brings clarity. But, okay, does this tech actually translate to top-level performance? We see cool tech all the time, but...
While connecting the dots, the performance side is pretty compelling. Look at the PGA Championship this year at Quail Hollow.
Tough track.
Very tough. Around 20 players using Sportsbox were apparently in the field. But the standout thing, 3 of them tied for second at -6.
Tied for second? Who?
Bryson DeChambeau, he works with Dana Dahlquist. Harris English, coached by Justin Parsons. And Davis Riley, who's Jeff Smith's student.
Wow. T2 on that course. That's significant.
It really is. Shows the tech is being used effectively right at the sharp end.
Okay, so let's drill down into that, because the source gives a really specific case study on Bryson, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At a Ulvi golf event in Korea.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It's a great example of the precision you can get. So at this event, they captured literally every swing Bryson made.
Every single one.
Every one. And they combined that 3D motion data with foresight data, club and ball numbers. Then they did correlation analysis.
Correlation. So looking for links between his movement and the shot result. Like finding the cause of a specific miss.
Precisely. They were trying to figure out why he was hitting an overdraw. The analysis pinpointed a very specific combination of things.
Okay, what was it?
It was reduced X-factor stretch combined with excessive side bend in transition.
Can you unpack those terms quickly?
Sure. X-factor stretch is basically the difference in rotation between your hips and shoulders at the top. Think of it like coiling a spring for power. Side bend in transition is how much you tilt your upper body sideways starting down. The data showed too little stretch and too much side bend happening together was the root cause of that overdraw.
Wow. Okay. That's incredibly specific.
Yeah.
So identifying that combination, what was the fix they suggested?
Well, the correction focused on improving his chest rotation at impact. So rather than just directly fixing the stretch or the bend, they targeted how those issues showed up at impact.
Interesting approach. And the result?
According to the source, immediate, dramatic. Right. After making that adjustment, Bryson shot 30 on the back 9 to actually win the tournament, holding off Charles Howell.
A back 9, 30 to win.
Yeah.
After that specific fix.
Yep. It's a powerful illustration of how that super precise analysis can lead to a really quick, impactful change.
That really hammers home the point.
Yeah.
So looking at the whole picture, the coaching program, the detailed report, the PGA results, and especially that Bryson example, the overall message seems pretty consistent.
It does. The source sums it up by saying Sportsbox aims to provide, reliable tools, data, and expertise.
Right.
The goal is really just to help everyone involved in golf development, whether it's coaches trying to get better, players trying to understand their game, or even people just exploring new methods. It's about building that data-driven foundation.
So we've seen the expansion through programs, new tools like that swing score report, and clear results at the highest level, culminating in that incredible Bryson swing fix story.
Yeah, exactly. Which leads to a thought, maybe for you listening. How does this kind of really detailed data-backed 3D analysis, especially when you pair it with good coaching,
Mm.
how does that fundamentally change how golfers improve compared to, say, the more traditional ways?
Mm.
What could unlocking that level of detail mean for maximizing potential? Maybe in your own game, or perhaps if you're involved in coaching yourself. Something to think about.